All right, welcome to the second podcast of the Sacramento Normal meeting. We apologize for starting late. We did have a board meeting go over a little bit long. It is June 10th, 2015, and we have a few great guests. And our MC today is Granddaddy Mike, and here he is, Granddaddy Mike.
Hey, thank you, folks. Thank you, and thank you all for making the effort and manifesting the intention to be here tonight. A lot of what we're about is manifesting our vision for where cannabis should be in our culture in the future. So being here in attendance and learning more about what's going on and what's contemporary in the movement is all part of that. So I'm going to move quickly through the announcements because one of our guest speakers, Dr. Molly Fry, actually, she's here, but she's going to tell us later how she's really in jail. So we're glad that this is part of her time. But we're going to start with Ron, who has a brief announcement to make about Bob Bowerman.
All right. So we have some sad news coming last week. Bob Bowerman, if you're not aware, is the founder of Sacramento Normal. He put it together in 2013 and was with the intent of helping get marijuana legal in 2014 and stepped down just at the beginning of this year and has been still working in the movement. If you ever heard the statement, have a positive cannabis conversation with someone you don't know every day, that comes from Bob Bowerman. He had a heart attack. They say up to 3 heart attacks he had all last week up until Thursday, and then he ended up in the hospital. He has 90% blockage in one artery, 50% blockage in 2 other arteries. He's going for a triple bypass surgery at San Francisco General tomorrow morning. And he is going to be able to have visitors probably as early as Thursday or Friday. If anybody's interested, I'm probably going to go down to San Francisco Friday to visit Bob Bowerman. So I want everybody to send positive love and light to Bob because he's a great guy. And, he has all of these health issues that he's been battling for cannabis, not even related to his heart, with his legs and his back. And so just to have this added to it has been a real tragedy. There is a card floating around. We're going to bring it to him. Well, card. Andy Kahn has a chance. That would be awesome. Bob Bowerman needs our prayers. Thank you.
Right. So a lot of healing vibes out to Bob. And Bob, if you're listening to this, we're all sitting here wishing you a quick and complete recovery. Actually, I'm next for announcement. I wanted to just take a few minutes and enlighten people about the circumstances and what's happened at the Tahoe Wellness Collective out in South Lake Tahoe. My friend Cody Bass is the founder and director of that dispensary. If you had ever met Cody, you would remember Cody. Cody has long, straight, kind of dirty blonde hair and is always wearing a hat. He's quite a striking presence, young man, very articulate, very strident in his cannabis advocacy. And he got into a little bit of an issue with the supervisors in the city there. And as a result, last week, his dispensary raided, and they seized. I'm not going to go over a lot of the details because it's still kind of an ongoing thing, and I don't want to compromise anything. But I want to tell a story about someone who I respect in the movement, who is representing all of us and is exercising our rights and defending them stridently. His dispensary and his home, his product, all of his cash, all of his accounts, all seized. They walked out with boxes. They filled the back of a rental truck with boxes of paperwork and computers and cell phones that they seized. I mean, they just really went in and that started about 10 o'clock in the morning. And after a while, there was a call out on the media for people to come and support. And I understand a fairly large contingent, 70-some people came and witnessed basically the seizure that was going on. This was a coordinated effort by, IRS and BOE and, the sheriffs, and it was a combined task force assault, you know. And he was top operations manager, and he was talking to his vending coordinator, and he posted about 6 o'clock in the evening on the same day that they were back. Commitment that all of us should yeah. We're appreciating that you're standing up and I'm going to take a minute. Some of you know me personally, and I've gone through recently. I passed 1 year and 4 months now from the date of my raid. I continue to get taken my office out of storage and set it up in a new location in Oakland. I have an 18 by 18 room. My cherry desk set and my file cabinets, and my computers and my equipment, and I think part of the reason I was willing to come back up, go back, is following your excellent example. So thank you for that. Okay, now Rick. What? You gonna talk about the ASA Day today? I'm looking at you, so Richard Miller.
No, she's covered 258. Hey, Richard Miller.
Hi, everybody. Just want to let everybody know Monday we're having lobby day for ASA here in Sacramento. We're needing everybody to come out and support us. We're all patients, and we got to speak up for the patients. So we're asking all advocates and patients to come out. I have cards here for everybody. Registration ends tomorrow.
Here to give a brief advertisement for our
new that you haven't heard yet is they've dropped one of the cases against the dispensary in town, and the city attorney has called the civil attorney of that dispensary to say that they are willing to a proposal for an ordinance. So Life's the name of that dispensary. Kind of class, but nothing else. So it looks like I'm going to have to go to trial, and I'm okay with that. What else is going on in Livermore? I have notes. Let me bring my notes. Where else I have been is I attended a Board of Supervisors birthday party, Alameda County Board of Supervisors birthday party, and he's extremely pro-cannabis, and it was so refreshing to be with his people and staff, and not one person had raised eyebrows when I announced myself as a cannabis activist. In fact, a lot of them were very excited, looking forward to legalization. They talked and were excited that Gavin Newsom was having these Blue Ribbon Commissions, and then I texted speak, and I Lieutenant Governor to please give a baby to 66 before passing regulations. I attended the Democratic Convention down in Anaheim, and it was just so awesome. There were activists. Of course, Lanny Swerdlow, who started the first Brownie Mary Club, was there, and I don't know how he wheels and deals and gets his stuff done, but he was able to, because the booths are very expensive. It was going to cost about $4,000 just for one booth, and to have some flyers put in the bags, the delegate bags. And somehow he ended up with a double wide booth, and someone volunteered and did a hospitality suite for the Brownie Mary Club. And it was probably the size of the restaurant, and it was filled with hundreds of people eating brownies, non-medicated, ice cream, and they were just kind of listening to some different advocates. People, Diane Goldstein from LEAP was there. Yami, there she is. Yami was there. Dr. Behrman.
Amanda Reinman.
There were,
Candace Vaughn.
Yeah,
a lot of women there. It was really cool.
It was very, very cool. And to top it all, Barney Frank came. He was actually the keynote speaker for the Democratic Convention for one of the dinners. It's so expensive that I never go to it, so I didn't get to hear him talk. But he came into the hospitality suite and he talked, and he said, "I'll have you know that I was the first person who ever put forward a bill to legalize marijuana in Congress." So I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, in the booth we had a marijuana museum, had pictures of kids before and after treatment with cannabis, had antique medicine bottles, cannabis medicine bottles, had all kinds of different types of ingestion devices, bong, volcano vaporizer, various things like that. And it was manned, people by probably, I don't know, what, 30 people?
36.
36, okay, volunteers.
That's too many.
But, so the booth was great, the hospitality suite was awesome, and we got the word out to people at the Democratic Party that, you know, it's okay to support cannabis.
Right on.
Thank you, Marcia. Wow, traveling all the way down to Anaheim to represent our issues. So great. We have so much going on. I just want to bring everybody's attention. Second advertisement. Sue is passing around with the tickets. Okay, so the raffle tickets are up for sale. Speak, get her attention, and buy some. Okay, so our last announcement, and then we're going to move right into our first and important speaker. Next, Shelby is going to speak to us for a few minutes about AB 266 and AB 34. That's why I introduced you now.
Love your sense of humor.
There you go.
Actually, I really do. Hi, for all those that don't know me, my name is Shelby Lucero, and I used to be a board member here with NORML, and tonight's my last night, and I really just want to say thank you so much for the experience. I sat on the board before with Sacramento ASA. I was vice president. I started a group here in Sacramento called the Sacramento NORML Women's Alliance. I've been thinking about kind of doing a women's grow group, and I think that I'm probably going to go off of that chain. Also, we have an attorney from Humboldt County that is sponsoring me to go speak with none other than, I have to even take a look at it, Rand Paul. How awesome would that be to go sit in front of the man who's running for the president of the United States, right? And talk to him about cannabis issues. So I'm really happy about that. Now, Bob Bowerman is the person really that inspired me, and he was the actual director and the founder of the Sacramento NORML chapter. And Bob, of course, you've heard that is ill, asked me with the association to write what was 1262, and now it is AB 266. Well, I invited Kim Cargile to come along, and we invited wax makers and delivery services and, gosh, edible companies and everybody to go talk to them because they didn't know why we needed the people that we had in this industry. They didn't understand growing guidelines. They didn't understand cultivation. They didn't understand why we need tiered cultivation. So when we actually sat down with them, it was surprising to hear that they were very supportive. So they have written some language into AB 266, and that's Cooley's bill, and then they went into Vonta's bill, which is also backed by the Police Chiefs Association, and now they've merged the two bills, and it's not great. It still is a work in progress, but I get to go sit down with them in the next couple of weeks and hash it out again, pardon the pun. So it is still a work in progress, and I invite all of you, if you'd like to contact me, please let me know what you think about these bills, because it is kind of interesting that they do want to sit down and talk with us. Also, if any of you want my resumes, I brought them tonight to be sitting in on other boards. I thought it would be kind of fun, right? So anyhow, thank you again for the opportunity. I'm really happy that I have the part in Sacramento NORML, and I look forward to continuing on to help with regulation and with legality in 2016. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I hope you learned all about 266 and 34. What? Okay, we have a couple of things we'd like everybody to do. There is a sign-up sheet going around with contact information. Can I just have a quick show of hands? Anybody new here tonight? Who is new here tonight? We have four new people here tonight. Okay, was there an individual that was responsible for your coming? Did somebody invite you?
Yes.
Okay, so our policy, you're going to help him out, right? Our policy is he gets 5 extra raffle tickets for each new person that he brought tonight.
Oh,
So give John.
nice.
What?
I'm thought it was two.
Two. Sorry, I inflated the reward. It's only two per new person.
Board members only get one.
So
They're supposed to
so
be.
two. So there's another two and another. But you've been here before, right? You've been here before. No, this is your first time. Okay, so 6. We're talking about 3 people. Well, let's do. Yeah. See, it's all network. It's another degree of separation, but he still gets the tickets. Okay, and you, sir? Okay, so Anthony gets 2. Okay, great. All right.
Is there any more people?
So who invited Molly?
I did.
Okay. No. Sue brought her, right?
No, actually, Kamai brought it.
Okay, sorry. Kavai, yes, righteously entitled to 2 raffle
So if
tickets.
you bring Dr. Fry, you get 10.
Oh, if you get.
Bring back.
All right. Okay. I'm sorry for the interruption. Just want to get the raffle underway. So that wraps it up for our brief announcements. Our next speaker, I'm feeling a little honored and privileged here to introduce our next speaker. Dr. Molly Fry has a history in the cannabis industry. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Actually, tell us your story. Dr. Molly Fry, here in person but incarcerated in fact.
Yeah, this is federal prison, guys. Okay. I am currently released from the halfway house, and I will be out of prison, out of the Bureau of Prisons incarceration on September 4th. But currently, I'm allowed to visit the community. I'm required to volunteer 20 hours a week, and I'm participating right now in what I truly believe in, which is medical cannabis for those who really need it, and for all those who want to use it, because this is a safe drug, and we need to have it available for anyone and everyone who wants it. So praise God that I'm here and I'm free. I've been in prison for 4 years, serving a 60-month sentence for refusing to buckle under pressure. They wanted me to admit that I was wrong and that cannabis was not a medicine, and the federal government is wrong. Cannabis is a great medicine. It's non-toxic, it's safe, and it's the right thing for Americans. It's the right thing for the world. And hemp is also the future of our world and our community. And so much for what the government thinks. I don't know what to say to them. They haven't broken me after 4 years. Prison is one of those things that you should try to avoid. Just saying. I wanted to tell everybody that I'm looking forward with my sideline for actually 8 years because of the trial and the pre-trial and everything. I've lost my medical license. My husband, Dale Schaefer, is still a licensed attorney and will also be out of prison in September. He's currently on ankle monitor, so he couldn't be here. But he will be open for business and plans on being supportive of anyone who's facing injustice. So I just want to say that I'd like to teach endocannabinoids and the science of our bodies to medical students so that we can have a whole new generation of physicians who actually comprehend that cannabinoids are the future of medicine. And although they're greatly opposed by pharmaceutical companies, I'm personal witness to both my husband and I, who were denied cannabis and forced to substitute with pharmaceuticals, and the decline in our health was truly remarkable. And in actuality, I am grateful for being sent to prison because it got me away from the pharmaceutical drugs that they had addicted me to and restored me to perfect health. And now, just coming into the next phase in my life, I want to get out in the community and I want to find something productive and useful to do and hopefully make a little bit of money, but I don't really need to make a lot, but I do need to go back to, wherever possible, alleviating pain and suffering, and above all, do no harm.
Thank you, Molly. And gee, we so like it that you're out and about and among us in the community, and we certainly warmly welcome you back, as though you've never left. Next, I'm going to move on. Our next speaker is going to be Yamala Balanos. She's going to speak to us for a few minutes about SB 258, and I'll let her introduce herself. An honored guest that I see all over the state doing advocacy work at the highest levels. Yamala.
Hi, I'm Yami, and most of you in here know me because Sacramento happens to feel like a second home to me these days. I've made some really good friends here, and especially when I come here, I'm always happy lately. Because, like, for instance, today, AB 258 passed, 8-0. So I'm happy. This is a happy place for me. And AB 258 is scheduled to be voted on by the full Senate on June 18th, which is a week from this Thursday. And we're hoping that it's just going to be a slam dunk, you guys, you know. And it's really a good thing because this is truly a patient's Bill of Rights issue. ASA has gone above and beyond to go out for the patient's rights. Nobody gave them a dime. Nobody helped them. None of the other organizations in this state stepped up to help them in any way. Don's carried this ball by himself with the help of advocates like myself and other advocates that are here in Sacramento, you know, supporting. But ASA did this by themselves. Don Duncan is a miracle worker. I love him. He's my hero. And he's doing a lot of good work as far as the bills are concerned too. You know, today we had a meeting this afternoon with heads of organizations, you know, part-related organizations, and we all have a full consensus on what we think, you know, AB 266 should be, you know, what changes should be made, and it's very encouraging to be able to sit at the table where everybody's happy and agreeing, you know, finally, you know, and it's a good feeling. I know that AB 258 is going to pass next Thursday, and then the governor has 30 days to sign it. My birthday's July 24th. I'm going to be 60, and I'm looking forward to my present this year. So, you guys should come to Lobby Day. There's a lot of good things going on. Be part of the winning group. Be part of the people that go tell your elected officials to vote yes on 258. And when we win, then you guys can be part of that you've made a difference as far as that's concerned. Also, the other bills are very important. So please come and learn about what's going on. And thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Yanni, for the update. Okay, last time I promise we're not going to have any more commercial mentions. It's mine now over there. So if you want a chance to stand up against these tickets, you need to buy some of these.
Also,
all right?
if you want a picture with Doc Fry, give me $1 towards normal, and I'll take those with this Billy the camera.
Right.
Right, there you go.
And if you want an autograph, it's $5.
So without further ado, I had a brief announcement I wanted to just make in terms of Colorado leading the way in marijuana legalization. I read that they had just voted to reduce the sin tax on cannabis in Colorado from the original 10% to 8%, right? So they're going to drop it from 10% to 8%, a reduction of 2% in the tax on cannabis, and that move is directly targeted by the legislators as a strategic move to reduce the impact of the black belief that tax in the legal distribution and the legal manufacture and distribution of cannabis. And I want to just say that although I recognize that's a step in the right direction, I personally will never accept any sin tax on cannabis because I do not believe cannabis is a sin. I believe cannabis is a healing herb that everybody has a right to get access to, and it should all just uniformly be considered medicine. But I'm glad to see that some legislators are at least rational enough to be moving in the right direction regarding what I consider the penalty tax on cannabis. So our final speaker tonight is, I believe it's Dr. Jonathan Cachet. He's going to give us some updates on new science in cannabinoids.
Yeah.
So come up and enlighten us all. Here's a chance to learn something.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me. My initial plan was to give it to drugs. I have a PhD in neuroscience, pharmacology, meaning that I spent the last 4 years getting my PhD in giving drugs, all of the drugs, so LSD to caffeine to animals. And so I had recently given this speech at SSDP at UC Davis, of which I'm the faculty advisor for the group there. And if you want to see the full speech on drugs in the brain, I would encourage you to check it out. It's posted on YouTube. It's also at my blog, consciouscannabis.info. And there's also tons of posts you can find there. The blog title's On Science and Cannabis, so a lot of that is up there. What I decided to do for today was print out the most recent review article. So this is March 2015, comprehensive review of medical marijuana, cannabinoids, and therapeutic indications, primarily for the treatment of migraines and headaches. So it's from that sort of vein of neurology. And it's actually written by a medical doctor up at the Cleveland Clinic. I'm originally from Ohio, so I figured I'd pull it out. And what I wanted to highlight is that there's a reoccurrent narrative that I found in sort of the activist something everybody knows already, okay, about sort of things that everybody already knows. But I just sort of wanted to walk you through the highlight and then give you some sort of things that you could walk away with when you're doing cannabis advocacy from a scientific perspective that are you can use against detractors, essentially, we'll say. But this article starts out with a history. So we're starting at 4000 BC. That's where we're starting. Fast forward to 1838, indication for marijuana to use twice daily for chronic daily headache. So this is 1886, 1889, 1950, what the Lancet, which is a very big medical review article, there's a lot of medical articles published there saying that 30 years of personal experience prescribing and advocating for cannabis has its legitimate medical uses for a wide variety of ailments, particularly migraine and headache. The recurrent narrative is essentially framing the entire drug war as a propaganda campaign, and that in fact they specifically went out to say that drug abuse by minorities and low-income communities and pushing the attempt to associate cannabis use with psychosis, mental deterioration, addiction, and violent crimes. So the current laws that we're dealing with and the mindset that we face as advocates is a result of this propaganda campaign. So when you approach people, what I want to share with you today is how I sort of deal with people. There's people who are directly against marijuana use, usually because they believe some induced psychosis. That's crazy to think that amphetamines certainly induce psychosis, and they're prescribed to children readily, almost too readily, some would say now in America. There's documented, repeated evidence that amphetamines cause psychosis, not cannabis. But what they'll say is there's people that are completely against, there's people that are sort of on the fence. Politicians now really adopt this measure and say, well, I understand it's something I should consider, but we need more research. We need more research. This bothers me as a researcher because the one thing that we do know about cannabis use is that the most harmful effects about cannabis use come from the legal and social ostracification of its users. By it remaining illegal, those are obviously the most harmful effects of anything related to cannabis. So when
4 years in prison.
Exactly. So right, exactly. So when someone, particularly a politician or anyone of public influence, are saying, well, we don't really know if cannabis is safe, we need more research, tell them for certain that the most dangerous thing is the laws against it. It's ruining lives, it's ruining communities. That was one of the things, that was really the message I wanted to have. I don't know if you guys have any questions about cannabinoids. There was most recently, okay, so receptors, CB1 primarily in the nervous system, CB2 primarily in the periphery and in the immune system. 2 weeks ago or last week, there was a study that essentially now all the medical textbooks are going to have to be rewritten because they found vessels that now link the immune system to the central nervous system in the brain. So this now completely changes it, and cannabis is involved in that entire communication signaling pathway. I was actually just explaining to cocaine or other Republican, but this was at CCI lobby days. If you guys ever want to explain how cannabis works, a good way to consider it is with a drug like cocaine, after you take that, essentially dopamine is blasted through the doorway. So in the neuron, you have a presynaptic neuron, a gap, and then another neuron. So cocaine and most other drugs blast sort of these neurotransmitters. They call this excitotoxicity. And that basically the postsynaptic neuron, the neuron receiving all the dopamine getting blasted out, is dying because it can't react to that. Cannabis works by being released from the postsynaptic cell and tells the presynaptic cell, like, whoa, chill out, stop blasting all these neurotransmitters at me. And then it also involves, particularly CBD, in sort of stabilizing receptor molecules on the postsynaptic cell. So by all indications, neuroscience knows very little about cannabis and its potential uses. We know maybe two things. We know a lot about THC and CBD as they're isolated and as analytical compounds, but together with the plethora of cannabinoids, we only have so much to learn, and the indications that it's currently used for are minimal compared to what it could potentially be. So I was hoping to just give you a few key phrases or buzzwords or perspectives that you could take with you when you're talking to, like Bob always tells us, talk to strangers about cannabis use. And if there's any questions, we can just go right to that. Yeah.
Well, okay. My understanding is that cannabis is a highly effective anti-inflammatory, and I think everybody on the planet knows anti-inflammatories, and they understand that Motrin and naproxen decrease inflammation. Would that be an accurate statement?
I don't know exactly if it is a COX-2 inhibitor, like the most NSAIDs are, but it certainly has indications for anti-inflammatory. Whether we understand the mechanisms behind it,
it's a different mechanism,
right,
but it's an effective anti-inflammatory, and I think that's a useful thing to communicate because that's the major cause of most disease is the inflammatory process, and it's our own bodies reacting to assault, whether it be chemical or physical assault by organisms, and our overreaction to that because of injury or other things that causes disease. And so marijuana is an effective anti-inflammatory, and that's important to understand because they're giving you poison. Motrin is a poison.
Right.
Cannabis is non-toxic. Simple concepts. Non-toxic, toxic.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing too, so in this Brains and Drugs YouTube video, I go and explain the difference between effective dose and lethal dose and where the therapeutic window is, and you'll see that cannabis and most of the psychedelics are ostensibly the safest drugs to use from a physical perspective. You're not primarily because they don't control critical life functions. So when you take opiates and you stop breathing, it's because it's depressing your entire central nervous system. With cannabinoids and the psychedelics, they affect neurotransmitter systems that are much higher order in the brain, and so you can't really die of an overdose unless it's literally like you die of oxygen deprivation. It's not from a toxicity in the cannabinoids. I would assume with reducing the brain pressure and the anti-inflammation, but then again, neuroscience doesn't know, and that's a crime, that we just don't even know the answer to these things. How do these things mechanistically work? But the indications, particularly for the migraines, went as far back as Galen, and 4000 BC, there's written records. So most of what we have is anecdotal evidence because we have been prevented in the last 60 years from actually studying these things in a lab.
Isn't the brainstem where the opiate receptors is the reason why people die from opiates or cocaine, because we have these receptors in our brainstem, but yet they don't have receptors for cannabis, so the LD50 for the cannabis would be
non-existent.
Non-existent, right. Immeasurable, right.
1,500 pounds consumed over 15 minutes, which honestly you choke first.
You run out of oxygen first, right. And you can also overdose from water. We call that drowning.
Waterboard, yeah, they did water intoxication.
Right.
But you can't die of cannabis.
Right.
But when it comes back to the migraines, my daughter had PRE1 malformation, and being a minor and stuff, you know, I understand what you're saying about how it processes the brain. PRE is a different thing where the brain is under pressure because the neuroline is too small. But what I found is that all of the pharmaceuticals the doctors gave my daughters, and we tried everything first before my daughter would agree to cannabis. The cannabis was the only thing that gave her relief. Our surgeon is top in his field. His entire office practice, Molly, I was there with us earlier today when we did a 3-month follow-up with my daughter. Cannabis is what literally maintained my daughter being able to make it up to surgery.
Right.
So I don't know what the you know how it would react because she did have severe migraines and stuff, but it did. It was a profound difference compared to pharmaceuticals that the doctors put out there as to what the cannabis, not just on cannabis tincture, not smoking, nothing else. The tincture itself, found the relief that it gave her and gave her functionality back in the interim. You know, not all of it, but literally, you know, it was phenomenal.
And doctors know that with prescription of opiates to any pain, they're really just masking the pain, not really getting at the cause of the pain.
Well, yeah, and they don't just try opiates. They try and regulate when you're female. They try and regulate. They say it's hormonal.
Right.
You know, and they try and do all of these things. They send your bodies into tailspin when cannabis stop all of that tailspin and give them some type of quality of life back. In my daughter's situation, until surgery, you know, and then after surgery, post-surgery, she's used no absolute cannabis whatsoever, and it's completely, you know, functional and no deficits whatsoever.
Right.
Cannabis saved her to be able to function and maintain a 3.4 grade point average up till that point.
Right. Yeah. You know, there's a growing like body of evidence that people are saying, physicians are saying, MDs. Now I'm a PhD. MDs are now saying, if cannabis can fix this wide array of things, maybe the underlying cause is a deficiency of cannabinoids to begin with. And so hopefully we'll see a more research done within that realm, that maybe all these people are actually ailments is cannabis deficiency to begin with. Can we do one more?
Has any of your research done, has any of it shown the difference between youth that use and adults that use? A lot of the studies coming out on youth are showing some side effects.
This is that psychosis narrative, and most of the most recent research is like, oh, it's inducing psychosis. So you need to understand something about scientific research. Like a lot of the scales that people use to find psychosis, just by using that scale in and of itself, you're going to find some element of psychosis. So these dare myths and these pseudoscientific claims that we're all born out of this propaganda machine, it very much continues. And so another figure in that article was essentially in the last 5 years, 20,000 cannabis research articles have been published. 6% of them looked at potential therapeutic indications. All the rest of them were about the dangers. And so I was a researcher from the National Institute of Drug Abuse. And so just from that very perspective, when I had to apply for money to get money from them, you had to spin this narrative of, we're going to understand stress and drug abuse and addiction, instead of just, these are good tools to understand higher order brain function, particularly things like LSD. So in my research, I could get Molly or LSD from NIDA, no problem, overnight. We'll send you 5 grams for free. I want to get cannabis. Oh, no, you can't get that. You're not going to get that. And the only way they would deliver cannabis to us was just THC in an alcohol tincture. So it was setting up the narrative of what happens if someone smokes and drinks at the same time. It's sort of to stay away from that. But any type of attempt to get the actual flower from their farm in Mississippi, they say, okay, you're approved. You go through that. You go through NIDA, you're approved. You go through the DEA, you're approved. Then you get to Health and Human Services. They're like, yeah, we'll get back to you. And then you wait 9 years, 12 years. I think MAPS is now in the 12th year of waiting just to get that weed delivered to them from Mississippi, which we all know is, you know, like 1990s style stuff. It's not what people are buying. Right. Well, that's good. That's good. So, you know, check out the blog, email me anytime if you guys have any questions about the science, about any drugs or cannabis in particular. This is what I'm an expert in, so I can share.
Thank you. Jonathan, thanks for enlightening us. I think I'm ready for some excitotoxicity here. Maybe that's a new symptom I can start claiming. I think I've got some excitotoxicity going here, so bear with me, folks. I wanted to just say I've talked with some folks, some theoretical folks, and they believe that one of the reasons that we're just scratching the surface and coming to understand scientifically how the endocannabinoids actually benefit us human beings, and that it's looking more and more on a theoretical basis that one of the things that the actual cannabinoid chemicals do in our body is provide a system that both monitors and modulates all of the other systems, right? So the endocannabinoids have the capability of increasing low blood pressure and decreasing high blood pressure. They have a way of changing the digestive peptide balance in the stomach. So things get out of whack, things in our other metabolic systems get a little bit out of whack. And the endocannabinoid system is the one that identifies that it's out of whack and immediately intervenes to bring things back closer to the norm of metabolism. So with that in mind, some people have speculated, now that we know that we have what's called an endogenous endocannabinoid system, which means it's with us at birth. We have it already in our systems. How is that possible, right? It comes from a plant, and yet it ends up residing in all of our bodies. So, further speculation, just theoretical, but bear with me. How about millions of years ago, our ancestors were divided into ancestors, humanoids, some of whom ingested cannabis and survived, and some of whom didn't ingest cannabis and declined. And that's why all of us have benefited from genetically inheriting an endocannabinoid system that has been part of our genetic ancestry for thousands of generations, right? So on some level, we are the lotus eaters, and that helped us survive evolution. And those that are not, descended from cannabis consumers are no longer among us. So just a thought. And then I was inspired while I was listening to Jonathan. I was talking recently with my good friend Ed Rosenthal, who probably needs no introduction. And Ed Rosenthal made this, I thought, enlightening metaphor. He said the terpenes are the steering, and the THC is the accelerator. Right? So think about that. The terpenes may define an individual symptom cluster that they may best treat, and that's energized by the THC and the CBD molecules. So I just wanted to throw that out there as an idea. Yes, enlightening. We have a last surprise walk-in speaker. I'm going to get up Kelly Chasana. You'll remember he's spoken with us before. He's from Pure Life up in El Dorado County, has been going through some travails, and we're happy to see him surviving in here to update us about what's going on with.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, as many of you know, we were raided in November. Our shop was shut down, everything taken. No charges were filed for about 5.5 months. So, we were kind of just in limbo, and then we motioned for return of property. On the morning we motioned for return of property, the district attorney filed all 7 cannabis charges that El Dorado County has, just to make sure that we got everything in there. Now as the motion to return property has been to trail the other case, but just recently we had filed a demurrer, which was denied. I don't know if anybody reads the Mountain Democrat. It had a little blurb in there. We had a little bit of court support, but we do have a pretrial date coming up. The first date to set will be the 26th of this month at 1 p.m. in Department 2, which is the Main Street Placerville Courthouse. So 1 p.m. we're looking for any court support. We're probably going to get T-shirts made up for anybody that shows up to unify. And yeah, then we'll have pre-trial following that. But we want all of the media outlets, everybody to know, because we have been closed, and we do have a lot of patients still in need of medicine. And yeah, we want to just keep fighting this fight. We know what we did was right. We're in a good place, and we're going to prevail.
Thanks, Kelly. Support for Kelly, folks. If you can show up and do some court support and attendance for him, I know he and all of his network of patients would appreciate it. So if you have the time, please do that.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. If you didn't get a copy of DOPE, I still have a few more left. This is the first edition of Northern California. It stands for Defending Our Patients Everywhere. It's got a lot of content, a lot of articles aside from the ads. I wrote 5 of the articles. Most of the reviews I did under Cal Greenfield, and then I wrote a hard news article about Nate Bradley that they accidentally credited to some person named Steve Elliott. But I did take the pictures and do this. I don't know. So if you want to know who Nate is, read the article. So other than the miscredits, it's a really nice-looking magazine. I'm really happy with it. It's going to be on stands everywhere in Northern California, and in a few months, it's going to move to being a split, and they'll have a Bay Area and a Sacramento-only issue as it builds up. So if you know anybody interested in advertising or whatever, hit me up, because it's a great opportunity, and I'll be, of course, hitting them up as they progress for like sponsorships and helping us spread the word for SacNOMRL. One of our dedicated members is, sorry?
I've always got Robinson. Gotta go.
All right, we're okay. We're going to bring out the pie and sing happy birthday to Jan really quick. Can somebody go grab the pie? Okay. We wanted to do something to honor Jan. Jan is, I always like to joke, she's a go-along gal. You're like, Jan, I'm going to San Francisco for some pot thing. She's there. And she always puts a little money aside so she can pay her own way to get into the tickets and all these things. She's always helping out wherever she can. She also sells jewelry. Is it okay? Is it okay to say you're unemployed? She's unemployed, and the jewelry is a good source of her income. So if any of you can afford some of her jewelry, that'd be awesome. So I guess, let's just go ahead. We're going to do 5 raffle tickets really quick, and then we'll sing happy birthday to Jan, and we'll close it up. Sound good?
Okay.
And it's going to be drawee's choice. We're just going to draw a ticket. You can go to the table, pick what you want. So nobody's forced to get some shirt don't fit them. If they get some clone delivery, then they'll do clones or whatever. And somebody have Sue's tickets handy? We don't want to leave you out. Okay. This goes to Ariel. Come on down. Ticket number 047. All right.
Where's Ariel?
And then the next raffle prize goes to Patty. Come on down. Ticket number 029. Take your choice. And Granddaddy Mike.
Yay!
I don't know.
I told you.
Okay. All right, 2 more. Oh, and there's the delicious pie. Kelly, you won a raffle prize. Small consolation. And the last ticket prize goes to, and don't take my flag if it's over there, that's not a raffle prize. And the last one goes to Michael. Mike's over there getting his prize. Okay, the last one goes to Patty again. Patty got 2. Patty must have bought a lot of tickets. All right, let me get my camera. So I don't know, since we're podcasting and happy birthday is copyrighted, are they going to give us crap if we sing it? We're going to be like, you're the birthday, you're the birthday, you're the birthday, boy or girl. All right, let's do, and then what will happen is YouTube will either take our video down or put ads on it if the copyright lady complains. So I'm ready. We're going to sing a little happy birthday and present the pie to Jan. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jan. Happy birthday to you.
That's it on the raffle. That's it on the meeting. Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm sorry that we started late. Next month, we're not even having a board meeting. So we will be starting right on time. And just with all we're only required to have 4 more board meetings a year. And I think we solved a lot of our issues, so we're going to skip next one. But don't worry, board members. You'll be hearing from me about various topics that we still need to work on, including the hotline. I forgot to announce. We're going to have a hotline people can call. Somebody have the number for the hotline? One more thing before we cut off the podcast.
Okay, quickly, folks, I want to let you know that if there's somebody out here that supports MCLR, we're going to have a booth at the High Times Cup in June in San Francisco, June 20th and 21st. It's just a 2-day event, and we're looking for volunteers to help man the MCLR booth there. So if you're interested in that, please get back in touch with me. Okay?
Thank you guys for coming. Next meeting will be the second Wednesday. It's July 7th, 7 p.m., same spot. If you have any speakers, any sponsors, anybody interested, please send them our way. You can find us on @SacNOMRL.org, at SacNOMRL, Sacramento Normal, on Twitter, on Facebook. We're facebook.com/SacNORMAL, and then our website is SacNOMRL.org. Thanks again to Doc Fry. Thanks to Dr. Cachet. We're sending our love out to Bob Bowerman if he gets a chance to watch this. And thanks for coming. See you next week, next month.